We are in day 3 of the winter meetings, and for the Baltimore Orioles, they have yet to acquire a starting pitcher, leaving a lot of fans upset and very angry. But recently, some breaking news has just came out. The Orioles have been linked to one target that could help this rotation next year. And in this video, I'll be explaining all of that and more. Welcome to Orioles Digest. I'm your host, Kam Brice. And before you do anything, drop a subscribe button and come join the family. Jon Morosi of the MLB Network reported earlier with the likelihood that free agent Corbin Burnes leaves in free agency, the Orioles have been included in talks to acquire right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease from the San Diego Padres. This is the good news that I want to share with you guys. The Orioles are trying. They lost out on Max Fried. They lost out on Garrett Crochet, and it's looking like they'll lose out on Corbin Burnes also. This has been a process all offseason that Mike Elias and his team have been trying to acquire a starting pitcher, but things have just not gone their way. So, Orioles fans, calm down with me, take a deep breather. It will be fine. The Orioles will find their starting pitcher. Now, let's move on to Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease is a great player. This is a guy that the Baltimore Orioles need to target. Whatever you have to do, if you have to give up guys in the minor league system that you don't want to give up, it's a price that you have to take. The Orioles are in a position to fight for a World Series championship. They have it on the offensive end. The only problem is they don't have that proven ace. And with the likelihood of Corbin Burnes not returning, they need to get another guy. Now, the Orioles have been linked to Dylan Cease for almost 2 years. Remember last offseason when they acquired Corbin Burnes and they sent DL Hall and Joey Ortiz to the Milwaukee Brewers? They offered the White Sox basically that same package. And a report from Bob Nightingale in his article last year that the Orioles basically had the same package for Cease, which I was very confused about. If they offered Cease that same package, why didn't the White Sox take it? They know they were going to trade Cease, and that was a great package. Package. Two major league players who are ready to contribute. Now, that leaves a lot of questions about the Baltimore Orioles and where they could go. What would a Dylan Cease trade package look like? A Cease trade package could possibly look like you send Heston Kjerstad, Kobe Mayo, Ramon Urias, or even you throw in Justin Armbruster or Chase McDermott to the San Diego Padres. Now, I believe that's way too much. If you want to if you want to break down for me on how I would do a trade package, it would start at Heston Kjerstad. That's the guy that the Orioles can possibly move on from. You just acquired Tyler O'Neill, so you don't need to go out and get another right-handed bat. You don't need to hoard prospects because that's what the Orioles have been doing over the past 4 years. They're keeping prospects in a double A, triple A, and just expecting them to be MLB ready level players. The outfield is now crowded. Yes, Anthony Santander is gone, so Heston Kjerstad will have many opportunities. But if you can get Dylan Cease without giving up Kobe Mayo or Samuel Bazio, and all they want is Heston Kjerstad, Chase McDermott, or Ramon Urias, that's a move that you have to take. The Baltimore Orioles are in a good spot, but the only question is Mike Elias and his team willing to send that draft capital to the San Diego Padres? There have been a lot of reports all off season, and even Mike Elias said it at the MLB winter meetings. The Orioles are in love with draft capital. They still have one of the best farm systems in MLB, and they have a lot of players they can move. But one guy they're not willing to move right now is Heston Kjerstad, and they believe he could be the future cornerstone of this franchise. My view on Heston Kjerstad might be a little different from Mike Elias. I believe he possibly is the everyday player, but if you want to acquire a starting pitcher and possibly be in the World Series championship contender teams like the Yankees, the Red Sox, um, the Toronto Blue Jays, even if they acquire Corbin Burnes, and obviously the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are the defending world champions, you have to acquire a starting pitcher. And if you can't get Corbin Burnes, Cease is the next great option. Cease has been amazing his whole career, and that's something that we have to look at. He's been one of the top pitchers over the last 5 years, and what he does on an everyday consistent basis is good for this team. He's still under 30 years old. You have a lot of control left. You can offer a contract extension that will not cost nearly as much as you're giving Corbin Burns, but it's a good deal that you're willing to take. My other view on this is if you go out, you trade for Dylan Cease. That's leaving a gap in this organization. You give up Heston Kjerstad, you give up Kobe Mayo, you obviously give up Chase McDermott. You don't have a lot of pitchers in the minor league that can come up if you have injuries to Grayson Rodriguez. I hope it's no injuries to Grayson Rodriguez at all because when he's healthy, he's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. But the main problem with him is staying healthy. And then you have other guys like Albert Suarez, who is very old, almost reaching over 40 years old, and he's looking for probably his last opportunity as he has the 1 to 2 years. But another name that I want to mention is Cade Povich. He's the guy that the Orioles are very high on, and I'm very high on. If you see my Twitter, I talk about Cade Povich almost every single day. He's one of the best young pitchers in MLB, and I think he will have a breakout year this offseason. So let's get back to Dylan Cease. Cease is still a great pitcher. The Padres obviously view him as an ace, but now in the recent talks they have been linked to Roki Sasaki. It's looking like they're looking to move on from Dylan Cease because they can acquire Roki Sasaki. He's the number one ace. You pair him up with Yu Darvish, that's dangerous. Now, what would the Orioles' possible rotation look like if you acquired Dylan Cease? So at the one, obviously you would have Dylan Cease. At the two, you would have Zach Kaplan. At the three, you will have Grayson Rodriguez. Kyle Bradish will be at the three, but it is unlikely that Bradish will return next season after recovering from Tommy John surgery. And then you go to the 4 and 5. That's the problem that you have right there. You don't have a lot of guys that you can put in that position right now. Yes, you can throw K. Povich in there, but are the Orioles really going to push K. Povich to the 4 spot yet? You have Albert Suarez. You have Trevor Rogers, who Mike Elias said in the winter meetings earlier this week that he just ran out of gas last season and the Orioles had to sit him down. So there are a lot of aspects that go in this Dylan Cease trade, but my final thoughts is the Orioles have to go out and get Dylan Cease. He's a guy that you need on this team. He keeps a low ERA. And this past season was his second best season in his career. He had a 3.97 ERA. And that's good for a starting pitcher, especially one who's pitching in the NL in that tough division with the Dodgers. He was great all off season. All season, he was great. And then in the playoffs, he was even more dominant against the Dodgers. So that's something else to think about. You're getting a young guy in Dylan Cease who you can plug right into the rotation. He'll be dominant, has a great spin rate, high raising fastball, and that's something the Orioles are very big on. So it'll be interesting to see what the Baltimore Orioles do over the next couple of days. But for Digest Media and Orioles Digest, we'll be updating you every single day. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, please drop a subscribe button. You do not want to miss out on the amazing content we have. Talk soon.